Right then, let's talk gearboxes. These intricate components are the heart of any vehicle's transmission system. Before we get our hands dirty, we need to be safe. Safety is paramount in any mechanical work. Gearboxes are heavy, so make sure you have a clear workspace and a way to lift it safely. A clutter-free area reduces the risk of accidents. Always use proper lifting equipment to avoid any nasty surprises. Hoists and jacks are your best friends here. Next up, let's gather our tools. Having everything you need within reach saves time and effort. You'll need a good set of wrenches, sockets, screwdrivers, and pliers. These are essential for any mechanical task. A soft mallet can come in handy too. It's perfect for those delicate adjustments without causing damage. And don't forget your safety gear. This is non-negotiable. Safety glasses, gloves, and even ear protection if you're working in a noisy environment. Steel-toe boots are a must to protect your feet from heavy objects. Now, before you even think about touching that gearbox, disconnect the power source. Safety first, always. This prevents any electrical hazards. You don't want any unexpected movements while you're working. Stability is key. Once you're all prepped and ready to go, it's time to move on to the fun part, getting that gearbox out. This is where the real work begins. With our safety gear on and tools at the ready, let's extract this gearbox. First, locate all the bolts holding it in place. You might need to consult your machine's manual for this. Once you've found them, use a marker to mark the position of the gearbox in relation to the machine. This will help you during reassembly. Now, carefully loosen and remove the bolts. Keep them organized in a container so you don't lose any. With the bolts removed, you can slowly and carefully separate the gearbox from the machine. Once the gearbox is free, give it a good visual inspection. Look for any obvious signs of damage, cracks, or leaks. Take note of anything that looks out of place. Now, let's move on to draining the oil. Before we open up the gearbox, we need to drain the oil. Place a suitable container beneath the drain plug and remove the plug. Let the oil drain completely. Remember to dispose of the oil responsibly. While the oil is draining, take a closer look at the gearbox housing. Check for any wear and tear, especially around the seals and gaskets. Look for any signs of rust or corrosion. These could indicate a bigger problem. Once the oil has finished draining, reinstall the drain plug. Don't over-tighten it. Now with the oil drained and the housing inspected, we can move on to the exciting part, opening up the gearbox. Cracking the vault. Opening the gearbox. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Now for the main event, opening the gearbox. This process is crucial for understanding the inner workings of your machinery. This is where things get really interesting. The gears and components inside are the heart of the gearbox. Using the appropriate tools, carefully remove the bolts holding the gearbox housing together. Make sure to keep track of each bolt as you remove it. Again, refer to your manual for specific instructions. Each gearbox can have unique requirements and steps. Once the bolts are removed, you can gently pry open the housing. Take your time to avoid any unnecessary damage. Be careful not to damage the mating surfaces. These surfaces are critical for the proper functioning of the gearbox. You may need to use a soft mallet to loosen the housing if it's stuck. A gentle tap can make all the difference. With the housing open, you'll have your first glimpse inside the gearbox. This is a fascinating moment for any technician. Take a moment to appreciate the intricate workings. The precision and engineering that goes into these components are truly remarkable. But before you go poking around, remember to be cautious. The internal components can be delicate and require careful handling. There may be springs under tension that could cause components to fly out. Always be aware of potential hazards. Now let's move on to disassembling the internal components. This step will allow us to inspect each part for wear and tear. Disassembly and documentation, a gear-by-gear guide. In this section, we will walk you through the meticulous process of taking apart a gearbox step by step. With the gearbox open, we can start disassembling the internal components. This is where precision and care are paramount. As you remove each component, carefully label it and its orientation. This ensures that each part can be easily identified later. This will be crucial during reassembly. Proper labeling can save you a lot of time and prevent potential errors. A digital camera can be really handy for documenting the process. Take photos of each step to create a visual reference. Take your time and work methodically. Rushing through this process can lead to mistakes that are difficult to correct later. Pay attention to how each component fits together. Noting the alignment and fit of each gear is essential for smooth reassembly. If you encounter any stubborn parts, don't force them. Forcing parts can cause damage that might not be immediately visible. Refer to your manual or seek expert advice. Manuals often contain detailed diagrams and instructions that can be very helpful. As you disassemble the gearbox, inspect each component for wear and tear. This is a good opportunity to identify parts that may need replacement. Look for any signs of damage, such as chipped teeth or worn bearings. Identifying these issues early can save you from bigger problems down the line. Clean each component thoroughly using a suitable solvent. Proper cleaning ensures that no debris or old lubricant remains. Once you've disassembled all the components, lay them out in order on a clean workbench. This organization will streamline the reassembly process. This will make reassembly much easier. Having everything laid out in an orderly fashion helps you see the big picture. Remember, patience and attention to detail are key here. Taking the time to do it right the first time will pay off in the long run.